Welcome back to Ready, Set, Sold. I'm your host, Bryan Vogt. And kind of recapping where we're at, where we've been at. We talked in the first segment about how important it is to get the house price right the first time. And we talked about the timing aspect of it. And yes, the work that can be involved with it, of getting the beds made, making sure that you had the house staged properly. Oftentimes, sellers will talk about they feel like they're living in a hotel if their house is no longer theirs. And so by pricing it right, getting a faster sale is usually a win-win just on that alone. But also the factor is that the longer your house is on the market, again, it just can wear and tear on people. It puts doubt, their concerns. And that doesn't take near as long as what sometimes sellers think. Oftentimes within 30 days and definitely within 2 months. So again, getting it right, priced the first time, usually is going to accommodate that situation. Also, we talked about then location, and understanding that you really want to hone in. You and your agent should be honing on what has happened in the last 3 to 4 months. 3 months ideally. What has been selling? What is that price range? And make sure that your house is in that price range. And then also talking about if you don't agree with your agent. If your agent doesn't agree with the price that you're asking for your house, then it's a very good idea to find another agent. It's just that simple. They've already told you that they either don't believe in your house or they can't get it, and that's okay. But oftentimes when you sign on, and we've had story after story when that happens, the good news is it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it usually brings a lot of friction, a lot of problems, and all of a sudden it seems like sellers talk about that they're in a tug of war with their agent. Their agent keeps on saying, no, you got to take less, and they're wanting more, and it's just not a good working relationship. So in this segment, when we talk about other factors, because we talk about location, and square footage is one of those factors. But I want to encourage you to understand it's a factor. You've heard the expression, you don't want to have the nicest house on the block. Most people have heard that. So what exactly does that mean? Well, it might be square footage. Know of a situation where most of the houses were between 1,800 and 2,200 square feet. I believe the house was in O'Fallon. And they were selling at a certain price point. Well, a seller had a house that, quite frankly, had about 2,500, 2,600 square feet. And because of that, they decided to arbitrarily put a price on that square footage. So what happened? Well, unfortunately, they didn't sell their house. The price that they put on there, they could not get that pricing. They got very little as far as showings, and they never did get a offer. And the problem being is that you may have the best house, and that's a good thing to a certain point, as long as you understand that the square footage is a factor. So in that situation is it so happened that when they did a little more digging, that yes, they bought that house. One of the reasons why they bought that house was it had 2,500 square feet. It was a bigger house. But when asked more about, well, did you buy that house? Did you feel that you paid X amount of dollars for that? The answer is no. It was just the best value for that location, and that they were able to get the additional square footage. And that's probably the best way to look upon that. You and your agent should be having that conversation. So square footage is a factor, but it's not usually going to be the trump factor when it comes down to location. If your location is still going to be the number one factor you need to do when you're looking at pricing your house for top dollar and a fast sale. Also, bedrooms and bathrooms. Now, this is bedrooms and bathrooms kind of goes the other way. Meaning is a good rule of thumb, if you have 3 bedrooms and you have 2 bathrooms, you're probably in pretty good shape. And yes, there could be other houses in your location that have 4 bedrooms or even more bathrooms. But kind of a rule of thumb is after 3, then it becomes 4, 5, 6, 7. Look, the average household is still, I think, 3.2 people. I don't know what that 0.2 looks like, but it really is. And also, things have changed. It used to be that offices were the thing. There's nothing wrong with having an extra room for an office, but more and more people are using laptops, and their office is literally wherever they take it. I say laptops, I'm really talking about services and, yes, even their phone. So it's not saying that you shouldn't. It's a bad thing if you have the fourth bedroom. It's a good thing. But oftentimes the agents, unfortunately, will come up with some imaginary number that usually came from the East Coast or West Coast and say that your bedroom extra bedroom is worth $2,700 or something crazy like that. Same thing with the bathroom. Again, they're putting in numbers usually from the East Coast, West Coast that have really no bearing on it. There could be a small decline if you have everyone in your location has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, but it's not usually near as severe as most sellers think. It's definitely not worth putting a new bathroom in or trying to put a new bedroom in. And that, unfortunately, sometimes is what happens. That's why one of the reasons why having this book becomes so important. It talks more in depth about that's the last thing you want to do. I think an average bathroom is $10,000. So you're already $10,000 in the hole. Bedroom's not quite as expensive depending on the situation, but the trouble with adding with a bedroom is where are you going to put it? It sounds good, but again, most people know that if you put a bedroom in the basement, it's probably going to be considered a bonus room unless you have the spacing right for the window and the closet. So again, those things are factors. They do come into play. They're just not as large as most sellers think, and make sure that your agent's aware of that also. With that said, always offering the book, or you can go to Facebook and like us, Ready, Set, Sold with Bryan Vogt, or you can go to ReadySetSold.org, net.com, ReadySetSold.org, net.com, and pick up a free copy of the book. I think it'd be well worth the time. Talk to you in June.